Hello, I'm Philip Gonzalez, and this is my midterm evaluation for Info 4670. For the City of Charlotte, employee salary data evaluation from class assignments 1 through 3, I analyze salary data for the City of Charlotte. With Excel formulas and visualizations, we are able to determine the total, average, minimum, and maximum salaries for departments, job titles, and employees. There's so many lines of data that I had to condense the visualization down into departments so that the images would not look congested and unreadable. There are also pivot tables and pivot charts, which change in real time as the Excel data set is opened. For the agenda and our introduction, today we will take a look at the City of Charlotte employee salary information and determine if we can detect any interesting trends. With our data set, Excel will be the tool we use to identify answers to goals that I have set out to extract. For data set, the source of the data set is from catalog.data.gov, which is also maintained and stored in the Charlotte Human Resources Management System. There are 9 columns and 7,455 rows of data entry about employees that work for the City of Charlotte. The City of Charlotte is a municipal government that uses tax dollars to pay its employees. That is why we can access this public information. This organization benefits the city as a whole by creating jobs and pushing out capital to other small businesses. Police officers, firemen, and other city representatives use this information for budgeting. For data cleaning, here are a few steps that I have done to clean up the data for my analysis. One was moving the FID column from the end to the first column to see the number of employees. The next part of my data cleaning was changing the data for the full part and regular temp columns. I changed F to full-time, P to part-time, R to regular, and T to temp. Last on our list is adding hire dates to all of the City of Charlotte employees. This data in column K was entered all at random and set for the year 2019. Here in a little bit, I'll show the Excel spreadsheet. And for data analysis, I set my goals for our class assignments. The first set of goals was to use formulas like VLOOKUP, sum, and average, and others, with pivot tables and charts. The second set of goals was to create a visualization that shows us the relationship of annual rate and annual rate, as well as part-time and full-time employees. The last set of goals was to show you the age of the department and the day of which employees were hired, and use of the analysis toolpack to show more data sets of information. And right here is where I'm going to go ahead and show you, pull over the Excel spreadsheet and show you what I was talking about in the agenda. So here's our about for our data set. You can see the source and the description and the data set name. It's all from 2018. And this is our main data. Here's what was already on there. You know, these columns, and you can see full part. This one was just an S and a P. I changed them to full-time and part-time. This column was regular temp, and they all just say reg or just R and T, so I changed it to regular and temp. And we added, well, here's another one. I added this one to see if they aligned up. You can see the format F3 divided by G3 divided by 40 hours per week. And, you know, so click on that. And just to see if it lined up with 52 weeks per year. And here's another data set but we'll probably get to this at the end of the presentation. For assignment 1, you can see that I did the sum, average, count if, the count, the total employees, 7,454 employees. The max highest paid was, 318,000. Minimum was 0. There are some, I guess, employees that are not really getting paid, maybe part-time or, interning. And highest hourly rate for this one would be 152.88. So you can, with these formulas, you can find a lot of information from the data set. We also did VLOOKUPs, and for the example of this one, the formula text for C20 was Jeffrey, and we were able to find that he was a chief information officer. He's in that department, the administration department. He's a full-time employee. Annual salary and hourly compensation was $97 an hour. So we did another search just to get a different person, but and we were able to see the formula. These are actually the formulas. In order to see them, I did the formula text on this one, so just so it could display the formula what this is doing right here. For assignment 2, the information that I chose to display on the first pivot table and pivot chart is the number of employees that work the same job. There are going to be the job titles where there's only one employee. However, if you look at police officers, there are 76 employees. In the pivot table, I choose to select the part-time employees because if we allow all of the job titles or even departments, there are too many inputs for the pivot chart, and it looks unreliable or unreadable, and no one knows what you are looking at. And if you look at this one's also interesting because it shows you the salary in green and then the hourly rate. So you can see, for example, right here it's a high salary, and then it kind of lines up. But over here it's opposite. This guy gets paid $115 an hour, but then, well, 150 an hour, and then his annual salary is way down here. So, for example, one example I wanted to show you is hourly rate for an office assistant is $15, but she gets, or he, or yeah, okay, $15, and then you come up here, or the annual rate is 65. So it's just a little different. Sometimes, well, this is going to be because they're part-time, and then over here, this is going to be a full-time guy. I'll hover it over it. Might show it. Yeah, regular, part-time, regular. It just shows you the differences. Part-time versus temporary, but also hourly and annual. I just thought that was interesting how it doesn't matter if you're full-time, part-time. It could just depends on how much you work, just like any other job. For the second chart or pivot table, I chose to display the count of part-time employees versus full-time employees. This time I also chose the units instead of the job title or department. There are clearly more full-time employees that work for the city compared to part-time employees. For other than actually counting the full-time employees, we could have also set the values to a percentage. On the pivot chart, I changed the color of the part-time workers to orange and the color of the full-time workers to blue. From this chart, we can see the POL. Let's see, so POL right here. That's going to be the police department, and it has the most employees at a total of 2,020. So looking at this chart, you can see that the police department has the most employees in that department compared to all the other ones. And then And then for this chart, I chose a bar chart to show the age of each fire department. And this was interesting for a year's worth of time because we see which area has been working the longest and the others that are very new. The most days worked is for Fire Station 17. You see his is higher than everybody else's, which worked 11,191 days. The least days worked in 2019 was from Fire Emergency Management Department. That'd be over here. And again, these are just dates that I made up. These are all random, but it's still kind of interesting because you know, with other organizations, it's not really a set date when you're going to hire somebody, so it's also random as well. So it kind of lines up with you know, reality as far as you don't know when you're going to hire somebody. And moving on to the next chart, I chose was a line chart in which days of the week most employees were hired or was in the police department. We see that police officers had the highest hire rate, and the most of them were hired on a Monday, which a count of 315 new employees were hired. I believe that's this one, yeah. But then you look at the least amount of police officers that were hired, it was on a Wednesday, and the count was 91. And then moving on, it's just interesting because these are all based off of days and which one, this one of course has the most people hired and it just shows which days people were hired. I thought that was interesting where, you know, people were hired on a Friday opposed to a Monday or something. For the next one, this is the analysis tool pack. Using this data analysis add-on, I was able to create a data analysis of the months that the City of Charlotte employees were hired. The descriptive statistics used that the mean or average month a new employee was hired was in July 2019. However, for the mode or the month that an employee is hired, the most was in September 2019. We are also showing the minimum and maximum, which are the months in the year from 1 to 12. And coming back to this the data set, we're going to see the hire date, and this was all random. And then this is also another formula that I put in here. It's today's date. So going back to the beginning, if you remember, every time you open this this data set, this date's gonna change to the date that it is today, and then in turn changes all of this information. So whenever in a month this is opened, all of these are gonna add a month. But well, as far as age of work, that's what's gonna change, and then also the days worked until today's date changes as well. And these were some very interesting formulas because you can see this one has a formula to figure out the days worked, and then the year. Based off of this data, and it was pretty interesting grabbing this information. And then we got this one for the date of the week, pulling from the hire date. So we were able to pull out like Tuesday, Monday. This is the exact day when they were hired. That way I could grab the information for this chart right here. And then, but this one I really like the most. This was the longest formula, as you can see right there. The longest formula, but it showed you the year, how many years they've been there, how many months and days. And if I would have started in 2016, 2017, these dates would change and show more years of life towards all of these departments. So basically, this is a startup company from 2019, or it could just be a company that they just want to see the data from 2019. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure this would be a smaller list, or maybe in California it's a big list like this for 2019, and just grows every year. And summarizing learnings from Module 1 to 3, the following are the list of Excel topics from the first or 3 modules. Change that one to 3, because I believe we've only done 3. The range names, lookup functions, index functions, match functions, using pivot tables and slicers and to describe data, filtering data and removing duplicates, array formulas and functions, text functions, date and time functions, time and time functions, summarizing data by using histograms and Pareto charts, importing data from a text file or a document, and validating data readings. As far as everything else goes, that's all I have. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening in.